Today, Liberian immigrants gathered outside an Urbandale church demanding justice after a missionary connected to the church was arrested for attempted murder. About a dozen people stood outside across from the Creekside Church calling for justice for Jessica Lloyd. Liberian media outlets report missionary Lucas Richard cut Lloyd's throat in Liberia. Witnesses say Lloyd and Richard were in a relationship. Richard, who is from Louisiana, was affiliated with the Urbandale Church for years. They cut ties with him after the allegations surfaced, as well as reports that he married Lloyd while he was already married.
Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. In case you're new here, my name is Maren.
And I'm Maureen. So today we are bringing you an update of the missionary who was arrested in Africa because he attempted to kill his African wife.
Yeah, so he's been acquitted of attempted murder and by now he should be back in the United States. But let's just see what happened after he was acquitted of murder and what his wife had to say to him outside the courthouse.
Let's get up.
Lucas Richards has been acquitted by Criminal Code B.
Let's go. God will punish you. You will die. Your eyes will be open. But what you get to me, and that shit you cause my family and you will suffer. I curse you. You will suffer. You will die. Your generation. Your generation. Will die the consequence of what you did. You will suffer, Lucas. You will suffer. In any church, and lawyer, in any church, and lawyer, I got you as well. The children will suffer this day. The children will bear the consequences of what you did.
That was Jessica Lloyd saying her piece, knowing that she has just lost she's been denied justice.
Wickedness.
So guys, this was the scene outside the courtroom and his wife had quite a few words to tell him, and I can say the justice system here let this lady down because of lack of accountability on Lucas's part. He's just earned himself and his innocent kids generational curse.
So remember, Lucas was married in the United States. He has a wife and he has kids. So this lady has cursed him because of refusing to take accountability. She's gone ahead to curse his kids, and now everybody is going to bear the burden because remember, even though he's not facing justice in the eyes of man, Lucas knows what he did.
Right.
He knows what he did. It doesn't matter that he won in the court of law in Liberia, which, to be honest, I feel like he had to really bribe people for this case to be let go because this is a witness.
His attorney, even his lawyer refused a jury hearing. They only wanted a hearing where the judge would
decide.
Yes.
But there's an activist group in America who are calling for his arrest in America, and they want new charges to be brought against him. They're also looking for a way to fly his Liberian wife to America so that she can go and testify. I have to say that it's a good thing that they're trying to do because in Africa definitely she has not gotten any justice, and this is clearly a case of bribery. So guys, let's take something into account. All right, the victim in this case, this was a murder trial, okay, and this person had the wounds to show for it. When Lucas attacked her, he tried to slit her throat and she had quite the cuts. She had defensive wounds on the hands and she was taken to the hospital. I think we'll get the photos and show you, put it on the screen. So this is a murder victim who survived, and I believe
explaining her account, yet the judge who was sitting on that case said that there was no sufficient evidence. Yet this is the victim who has has survived, who is telling you and pointing out who tried to kill her.
Exactly.
Now, in Lucas's defense, he said that the person, the border rider, the motorbike rider who rescued Jessica was the one who tried to kill Jessica. Do you guys see what happened there?
I feel like that would have been an acceptable explanation had Jessica passed away.
Yeah, but she's still alive, and she said what happened. And then Lucas went on further to say that this motorbike person who saved Jessica's life was the one who knocked her with his motorbike, and then she fell on a ditch. And when she fell on a ditch, she received the laceration on her neck and on her hands. You know, how can a ditch give you defensive wounds?
I feel like this case was grossly mishandled, and I feel like the justice system has truly let her down
in Africa. But the good news is there's a human rights organization in Canada who wants to fight for Jessica. So their plan is to acquire a visa for Jessica so that they can fly her out to United States and then start proceedings over there and file a case against Lucas for attempted murder in his hometown in Iowa.
Yeah, you know what I'm assuming should happen is, because I don't work with the law, when a witness gives an account of events, all right, why is the judge saying there wasn't sufficient enough evidence when if they could have gone to the scene and if they had done their job to investigate the scene, I feel like everything they needed should have been right there. You understand? And if Lucas was trying to explain that Jessica had got these wounds because she fell on a rock that cut her, that as well should have been able to be corroborated if they had done the investigations.
Yeah,
I feel like this judge just threw this case out, and I feel
there's a good reason. Maybe he was sorted, only God knows. But I feel like between Jessica and Lucas, they know the truth, and Lucas will never be able to peacefully sit with himself, and by extension he's given his other white family a shitload of trouble to deal with because of what he has done. Now everybody in Creekside, right? Everybody in Creekside knows what he did, and his first wife is associated by him, and his kids are not they're tarnished, you know, because of the reputation he's earned himself in Africa.
Yeah, the actions of one man. I feel like all this would have been easier if the man would have just taken accountability and said, yes, I made a mistake, forgive me. You understand?
But that is not a mistake. I feel like if this guy...
I hadn't finished. I made a mistake, but this was earlier on when he slept with another woman who was not his wife. You understand? That is taking accountability before things roll out of control.
But he decided to cover up his action by trying to murder.
No, first pretending to marry the second wife. And you know, in Africa, a traditional marriage is as good as a church wedding. Guys, if you're watching this, Africans in diaspora, Africans, Americans, I'm sure you learned something, but Africans in diaspora and Africans, correct us if you are wrong. But here in Kenya, how we do it, if someone performs a traditional wedding, even if they never have a church wedding because others can't afford that, that is as good as a church wedding. You people start living as man and wife, you can have kids and everything. Traditional wedding means there are processes that you people have to go through for you to be called man and wife, and for her to be called Richard's wife, there's those processes that Richard took. There's that something that he was asked to do by the parents, and he did, and that automatically made him her husband.
Yeah, because you guys, you know, what I was thinking is, if Richard could go as far as looking for a concoction or a mix that would delete an embryo that was 3 months old, it means this very astute Christian who is a missionary, this wasn't his first time doing this. For him to even know the mixes that would kill, that would delete this 3-month-old baby, he has done this to someone else, and he got away with this. And he could have gotten away with deleting Jessica's child if he didn't attempt to delete her too, because she thought it was something natural until she thought, until she remembered he gave her a jab of some mixture, you know. And then he deleted her child while he's still breathing in America. Do you picture that scenario? And now she has come forward to lay a curse on him, his next generation, and the ones that will follow after that. But I just feel like this guy, he should make good with her for the sake of his children.
To free his spirit.
And we don't care about his spirit, but we care about his children's spirit. To free his children from this curse, he should make good with Jessica.
And apologize to the person he has wronged. In Africa, we take such kind of things very seriously.
Especially if you are in the wrong and you know you're in the wrong. Because someone might curse you out of anger, but if you're truly innocent and you don't have any fault, that curse will not lay on you. But if you are truly guilty and you have fault, imagine he should just go and seek her out, apologize, and try to make good for the sake of his children. But I feel like he is the kind of man who is selfish enough to let his children
pay for his sins.
Right. What do you guys think? Do you think for the sake of his children, he will even attempt to atone for his sins?
He's not sorry. If all these years, all these months he's been trying to fight for his freedom, and he put out a story that the person who saved Jessica was the one who attacked them. And you know, when you look at somebody and the accounts of events, you know who is lying. You know who is lying. And when Richard is giving this account, he's there shaking. You know, looking, the guilt is.
He was shaking because he was caught in a predominantly black society. You know, he wasn't expecting to be caught first.
You know, a lot of people are talking about how African women love white people, and I'll say for the percentage who love white people, these are the kind of cases they also need to take heed, because this shows the level of respect such people have for our society, them thinking they can come into our society and do whatever ill they want and then be released to go back to America.
Yeah, for the most part nowadays, I don't know if I'm wrong, but I can take corrections. I'm beginning to think that when white people come to marry Africans, it is out of fetish, not out of love or anything like that.
And they can't try that with black Americans because a lot of them already know their behaviors.
But anyway.
So there are things that they can't do in America that they've discovered they can come and do in Africa
and get away
with it, which is quite sad. Because Africans, they're not exposed enough.
Okay, it's not even a matter of being exposed enough.
They just don't know these things. They don't know nature.
Their true nature, because as usually as black Americans usually like to say, they live with these people so they know them and they know them, you know. But as Africans, we don't live with these people. So the image that we've been given of them, that is the only
movies thing. When you watch romantic movies,
and then when you watch heroic movies, it's always a white person saving a black person from something, you know. So that is the image that Africans have of the white people.
Because you guys, let me just ask something. You know, all of us as human beings, if you have humanity, you have love in your heart, you understand? If this man loved his wife as much as the wife thought he did, he wouldn't have come into Africa to try to do or whatever he did, to sleep, to even sleep with another woman, leave alone if it was white or black, it doesn't matter. He would not have come into Africa and slept with another woman.
But he chose to forget that he had a wife. He chose to forget in that moment he was a church member, kids, and that he was a servant of God. So he went and did what he did,
and because he wasn't man enough to face up to, you know,
the consequences
and
of his behavior.
This is why I love African men. Let me tell you something. If an African man is caught in a, you know, Africa obviously, it's been advertised they're known for polygamy. Like Africa is a polygamous society. Not that we're encouraging that, because myself, I wouldn't like a polygamous man. If I'm marrying someone, I'd like it to be just me, a monogamous relationship, you understand? So an African man, if your wife catches you with someone, or society even politicians, they catch you with someone and you had a baby with this person, you own up to it. You say, yeah, I made a mistake, but that's my baby, you know.
But not all.
Not all.
Not all. There you're lying to us. An African man, same as a white man, but to some extent when it comes to denying babies. Yeah, but that is
But
why there's
African
a
men
good
have
number of
concubines, you know,
Yeah,
they have a wife
concubines.
plus several strings of women.
that the wife might or might not know of. But these people, some of them usually deny their babies out there. They don't even give upkeep for their babies. They live like they don't have babies out there. You know, they only take care of their babies who are inside the marriage, and they leave fatherless children out there, which is also very, very wrong. So there, we won't even go there with the comparison.
Okay.
Lucases are many.
There's a lot of Lucases in different shades, colors,
and color. Yeah, the only exception here is that Lucas would choose to delete a baby and the mother, but most Africans would not delete. They'd only deny. So long as you don't get a way to get to them to get their DNA to test, they'll only deny.
Yeah.
Some of them maybe might end up like Lucas, but most do not delete their concubines.
I just say, like, I'm very sorry for the family of Jessica and what they're going through. It's a very rough time for them. You heard her say, there's a part where she told Lucas when he was coming out of court that he embarrassed her family, and he has cost her so much. And literally, I also can't imagine the kind of embarrassment she had to face. First of all, you have the scar to show.
She will never forget Lucas because of that scar, and she will never forget Lucas because right now she could have been a mother and she's not a mother because one person decided out of his selfish agenda he would delete the child and then delete the mother.
And can you imagine the kind of trauma this lady went through? I mean, she's not a chicken. You understand? This man was trying to slit her throat.
You guys, even to just slit a chicken's throat, you need guards. It remains with you. Those nerves and those when you're slitting a chicken's throat. So
and
imagine you slitting a human being's throat. This wide throat of mine. Imagine slitting that throat. I hope it lives with Lucas.
It will.
He might escape the justice of man, but he will never escape the justice of God. So with that being said, guys,
and
please leave us
before you close it off. One thing also I have to add, I really pray that where he's going, at least for justice to be served. You understand? Since at home Jessica couldn't get justice, which is quite shameful. It's very, very shameful. I pray that in where he's going in America, he gets the justice he deserves.
Yeah, and again, that is why I'm saying, even if he escapes justice there too, he might escape the justice of man, but he knows he did it, so he will never escape the justice of God if he did it, Yeah, and with that being said, guys, please leave us a comment on what you think about this episode. Do you think he's guilty or do you think he's innocent as the court has suggested?
I know he's guilty.
Yeah, he behaves like a guilty person.
Even the lady, when you hear the lady talk,
she speaks with so much pain.
Yeah, she knows what she's saying.
Yes, and the funny thing is, Jessica didn't have any amnesia, yet they are talking around her like she's not there.
Like she doesn't matter, her account doesn't matter,
and that they're trying to make her appear like she has amnesia. Because she's pointing out this is the person who wanted to delete me. Yet the person who wanted to delete her is accusing her, the person who rescued her, and the judge goes with that story instead.
In this case, let's just say, she has no reason to lie. At some point, she loved this man. She was going to have his baby.
And she didn't know of the other woman.
Exactly. She didn't know of the wife in America. So at this point, she really had no reason to lie. And you can see how she's cried. Pained. You can see she's pained, and you can see how she cried after. And that lawyer, the arrogance he has,
that lawyer is so arrogant,
walking that white man into his car
like it's the biggest trophy he's scored, walking that white man who can't even walk by himself.
There's something Jessica has done to both of them, them and their family. So they're forever bound. But the actions of Lucas is going to follow all of them and their families.
I just hope that lawyer will go sit down in a quiet room somewhere. I know he was just doing his job, but I hope he'll seek the forgiveness of Jessica, again, for the sake of his children and the generation after him.
He defended a murderer.
Of which I know it's a lawyer's job, but this one makes it different because he was cast.
If there are any lawyers in this platform, let us know. Can you choose a case? Because I feel like this is a case I wouldn't touch.
But there are different types of lawyers. True. Much as there is a lawyer who has morals and ethics, Now there's that one who's only
And
after
scrupulous.
money. That one will do his job. Whether or not he believes you're guilty or innocent, he will get you off those charges. So, like this lawyer, he looked like he was really just doing his job. I just hope for the sake of his kids, he looks for Jessica and apologizes. For
But
the
this
sake of his
woman, I can't
kids.
imagine what she's going through. Great injustice has been done here.
Yeah, so guys, we can go on and on about this for quite a long time, but since we don't want this episode to be too long, please leave us a comment on what you think about this episode, and also consider subscribing
if
for
you've not.
for those who've not subscribed, and we'll see you on our next episode.